If you're interested in checking out the Insta360 One RS but you're not really sure what it's about and what it can do, then this video is gonna be for you. Hey everyone, my name is Justin and welcome to the channel. I make videos about photography, filmmaking, travel, and gear. And today we're gonna talk about this little guy, the brand new Insta360 One RS. So we'll go over what comes inside the box when you buy it, a little bit about its design and how it works, the hardware upgrades, and some of the best and cool features that you can do that comes inside of this tiny camera. The package that we're checking out today is the Insta360 One RS Twin Edition, and this costs around 569.99 euros, and it's probably the most common package you'll see out in the stores. Inside the box, you'll get the brand new RS Core, which is basically the heart and the brains of the whole setup, a brand new battery base, the new 4K boosted lens, the 5.7K 360 lens, a mounting bracket, a 360 lens cap, a USB-C cable, you got your quick start guide, the warranty, and a few stickers. The Insta360 One RS is an interchangeable modular camera, which means yup, if this is the first time you're hearing about the Insta One RS 360 cam, you basically have the ability to change this and transform it into a different camera, which means I don't have to buy two different cameras for two different purposes. You got an action camera with this setup and then a 360 cam with the 360 lens. The body is made of high quality plastic and feels really premium to touch. It measures 70.1 by 49.1 by 32.6 millimeters and weighs about 121 grams. The One RS is designed to simply slide inside of this mounting cage that comes right out of the box, so you don't need to buy this. Now this mounting cage is very important for a few different reasons. The first one of them being that this is actually needed to make sure that your Insta360 One RS becomes waterproof. Without it, it's not going to be completely sealed, so make sure that this is on the camera before you use it. Another reason is that aside from adding a layer of protection to the camera, it's actually been intelligently designed so that even if you are using this with a camera, you'll be able to get crystal clear sound through the microphone that's found on top of the camera, and the wind muff inside that basically blocks strong wind. So this is going to be very helpful if you are shooting outdoors. Now let's talk a little bit more about the hardware components. The Insta360 has a brand new 4K boost lens that features a whopping 48 megapixel and a brand new 1/2 inch sensor. It's also now an f2.4 16mm equivalent lens versus f2.8 and 16.4 millimeters on the original 4K lens. This means that this lens is going to be just a little bit wider and a little bit brighter than the original. The other lens that's inside the Twin Edition, and honestly the main reason why I wanted to get the One RS, is none other than the 360 lens. From what I know, it's still the same amazing 360 lens from the original One R, featuring an astounding 5.7K resolution. But the best thing about finally owning a 360 lens is the fact that now I'm gonna be able to just set the camera, let it record, and forget about it. And later on in the edit, still be able to pick the frame or frame the shot that I want to. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about these two lenses and not talk about the third one that you can get for your kit, which is of course none other than the Leica lens. Now, unfortunately, I don't have that yet, but that Leica Mod contains a bigger 1-inch sensor, which is bigger than the one found on the 4K boosted lens, which means that lens is going to perform better in low light than both of these guys, and it's going to have better depth of field. And of course, if you know anything about the Leica brand, then you know it speaks volumes about the quality of the glass that lens comes with. This is the new One RS Core mod. It's got a new processor, 3 microphones versus 2 on the original, 50% faster Wi-Fi transfer speed, a snappy and user-friendly menu system, Plus, it turns on and off faster now as well. Now, if you look at the front, you'll see the logo and the branding for the Insta360 One RS, and right next to it is a status light indicator. On the bottom here, you see the microphone and a speaker grill. Towards the one side of the module, you'll see the hatch that covers the USB-C port and the micro SD slot, as well as another microphone. Now, at the back is the small LCD screen, which you'll use to navigate through the menu, and a status light indicator. And at the top, you'll see the power button, the record button, and the third microphone. Now, the One RS also comes with a battery pack that looks very similar to the original One R, but this is in fact a 1445 milliampere battery now, which is a 21% bump and increase in capacity, which means it's going to last longer than the original battery. Now, if all this talk about hardware still doesn't excite you, then maybe it's time to look at some of the best features and some of the cool stuff you can do with this tiny camera. As a photography camera, it will let you shoot in 48 megapixels, 8K 4:3 aspect ratio, 36 megapixels, 8K resolution in 16:9, 12 megapixels, 4K, and 9 megapixels at 4K resolution, 16:9 aspect ratio. You can use it to take a time lapse, a star lapse, you can use the interval mode, you can use night mode for low light situations, a burst mode for fast action, and HDR photo. The One RS will let you shoot photos in JPEG, and RAW, and a mode they're calling as Pure Shot mode, which also shoots in RAW, which according to Insta360 is an AI-powered solution designed to help you take better photos in low light conditions. The reason being able to shoot in RAW is a very big deal to me is because I like editing my photos, and being able to work with a RAW file when you're post-processing your photos is going to be so much better than a compressed JPEG file. Now, as a video camera, this shoots at 4K 60 FPS, which means you'll be able to take high quality slow motion videos. Speaking of slow motion, there is a dedicated slow motion feature in the camera which lets you shoot 100 frames per second, which is about 4 times slow motion at 2.7K resolution and a 16:9 aspect ratio, and an even slower 200 frames per second, which is about 8 times slow motion at a 1080p resolution, 16:9 aspect ratio. Which, by the way, if you are into making cinematic videos, which I normally do for this channel, means it's going to be a lot of help. So that's also something I'm very excited to try out with this camera. Another new feature on the One RS is the active HDR mode, which according to the company, when paired with the 4K boost lens, will stabilize your footage even when you're moving and give you better dynamic range and overall better image quality. Now, of course, not everyone is going to be a fan of HDR. Some people like it, some people don't. As for me, I've only had a camera for 1 day and it's something I have yet to fully try out, so I'm going to have to test it out for myself in the next few days too. This camera also does this interesting 6K resolution cinematic mode that lets you shoot 6K videos at an aspect ratio of 2:35:1 at 25 or 24 FPS only, which basically turns your videos into this widescreen movie looking format. It's a feature not a lot of people are quite excited about, I think because of the weird aspect ratio, but it's one that I'm honestly interested in seeing. There's a time shift mode, which is a totally unique take on speed ramping, very useful for hyperlapses, a loop recording feature. Another new feature in the One RS is the ability to digitally zoom in up to 2.7 times on your video while you're shooting. Now, I'm not much of a zoom lens kind of guy, I'm more of a prime lens person, but it's nice to know that you can do that too. Now, last but definitely not least is flow state, and it is essentially Insta360's stabilization algorithm, which they're kind of known for, which is really good. Now, flow state is designed to help you shoot gimbal-like footage even though you're not using a gimbal, and they've managed to make it even better with this camera, as great as it already was. So that's gonna do it for today's video on the Insta360 One RS. And like I said in the beginning of this video, this is a quick first look on the camera because I've only really had it for a day at this point. Now I'm going on 2-week trip starting tomorrow, so this baby is coming with me and I'm very excited to go and test it out a whole lot over the next few days. Now in the meantime, I hope this video helps answer some of the questions you might have if you're thinking of buying this camera. And if it didn't and you want to know a little bit more about a particular feature that we just discussed, then leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to go through them and maybe we can discover the camera together. As for my initial impressions, obviously, if you can't tell already, I'm very happy and excited about it. I love the design. I am a huge fan of the idea and the concept of a modular camera, and it's essentially the same reason why I decided to go buy a Nintendo Switch when it first came out. I think Insta360 is pushing the boundaries, pushing the limits of what an action camera can do and can be, and I'm all for it. I'm very excited to see where this road leads to. And even though I'm not exactly a scuba diving, skydiving, mountain biking adrenaline junkie who will probably have a lot more and a lot better use for an action camera like this, I can tell you I'm very excited about the prospect of having sort of a secondary cameraman for our travels, especially for those times where I don't really want to be pulling out a big camera for like when we're moving, when we're in transit, and of course a whole lot more than that. So hopefully this is the answer to my prayers. So be sure to watch out for more information about this camera over the next few days on this channel. Again, my name is Justin, and if you like this video, please don't forget to hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and as always, I want to thank you for watching.